Scott Hunter, success expert and author of the highly praised book Unshackled Leadership, helps organizations shift their thinking so it aligns with their vision for the future.
Nobody wants to take responsibility for the fact that I am in charge of my life 100%. When you show them that you're interested in them, they're going to want to do whatever they can do to make sure you're happy. You express appreciation for the things that people do. So I really appreciate that you did that. Thank you. You did a great job. Hey, that was a wonderful job. I really appreciate that you went out and you stayed later and you express appreciation for the things that people do. But you acknowledge people for who they are as a human being. So look, here's the thing. Life is not meant for you to suffer. You got enough responsibilities running your companies. You got all the financial responsibilities, you got all of that. Life is too short to suffer. If people are not playing the game the way you want to play, draw a line in the sand. Say, this is what I need from you. If I can't get that from you, then you have to go work someplace else and stop suffering. Consistently, 80% of every company that starts this in this country, in the United States, every year, 80% of them fail within the first 5 years. And the ones that make it through the first 5 years, 80% of them fail within the second 5 years. 90% of all companies that start this in the United States every year fail within the first 10 years. And I can give you statistic after statistic after statistic. And it's all because 90% of the people are programmed to think in ways that guarantee they will be unsuccessful, which is why they are. So here's the bottom line. People that run companies successfully think differently than people that run companies unsuccessfully. Unsuccessful people play the game of business not to lose. Successful people play the game of business to win. You hear the difference? Are you playing not to lose? Or are you playing to win? Are you allowing your fears to stop you? Or are you allowing your fears to have them and be motivated by them and move on anyway? It makes all the difference in the world because the energy is entirely different.
Scott Hunter, a former partner in a California law firm, has been transforming organizations since 1985 through keynote speeches, workshops, retreats, and management team coaching. His latest book, Unshackled Leadership, has received highly successful reviews and garnered a following among executives, professionals, and students. He's been featured on over 50 radio talk shows and appeared on a number of television news programs, sharing insights on personal success and leadership. Scott has the rare ability to touch people's hearts and turn those emotions into practical actions, to rattle cages and challenge the status quo, but he always provides a roadmap of success for his audience to follow.
Now, how many of you actually have a clearly well-defined written vision statement for your company that you're going to work on and work on and work on and work on for the next who knows how many years and then pass it on to the next? How many of you got one of those? See, hardly anybody does. Here's what you do. You create a picture of what your company looks like today. So we start out with creating a clear picture of what your company looks like today. And then we create a picture of what it could look like someday in the future. And then what you do is you stand in the future, look back from there, and say, how much of this vision do I want to take on in the next 5 years? So you say, well, if we're going to be this someday, and this is what we are today, then I think in 5 years we can be this, this, and this, the vision. Then here's the trick. Here's the trick. And this is magic. Then what you do is you go home and you redesign your company for that vision. So you look to see what your company would look like if that was your company. And you create an organizational structure, not for the company the way it is today, but you create an organizational structure without any of the people. You create an organizational structure for how that company will be in 5 years. And then you start saying, okay, this is what our company is going to look like in 5 years. We're going to be 5 times the size. We're going to have offices here. Okay, that's going to be our organization. We've got to manage. Here's our organizational chart. Okay? And then you say, okay, well, who do I got to plug into that chart? You say, well, I don't got one of those. I better get me one of those. I got one of those. I'll plug them in there. And all of a sudden you begin to see that there's a big gap between what you got and what you need to have to be 5 years. Okay? So then the 5-year structure becomes your roadmap to get to the 5-year vision. And then if you're the president or the owner, you start acting every day like you're the president of this company. Because if you act like you're the president of this company and you think about your company like it is, you'll keep attracting more circumstances to keep you like this. But if you act like you're the president of this company, you start acting like you're the president. The universe, I promise you, will fill in the blanks. It will do it every time. You will attract to you all of the circumstances you need to have the fill in the blank. And here's the one thing that'll get in your way. This drives most men crazy. How it's going to happen is none of your business. If you then say, okay, so here's who we are, here's what we're going to be in 5 years, how are we going to make that happen? You shoot yourself in the foot. Because you're not smart enough to figure out how it's going to happen. You have finite intelligence. The universe has infinite intelligence. You want to line up your finite intelligence with infinite intelligence? So here's what you start doing. You start following your intuition. You start acting as if this is your reality, and you start following your intuition. And I promise you, the universe will just start opening doors for you, will start showing you all the ways to make it happen. So I just want you to imagine, you've just had the best, most successful, the most profitable year that you've ever had in business. And you're taking a trip at the end of the year to celebrate, and you're saying, gee, I wonder how come I had such a great, and then you say, oh, I remember. I went to the expo. And I went into that room and I heard that guy, Scott Hunter, and he talked about manage my attitude and be clear about my vision and be responsible. And I started to do it. And I started practicing it every day, and every day. And you know what? It worked. It just worked. It just worked. And I truly hope I'm talking about every one of you. So it's been a joy being with you. God bless you all. Thank you.
If you would like information on how to bring Scott Hunter in to speak to your organization, you can reach Scott at 877-237-0207 or visit him online at scotthunter.com.